Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the InduSoft webinar covering HMI for the garment industry. Today's special guest from Surry Chemicals is Mr. Brian Ogletree, and what I'm going to do is cover a brief few things about machine builders and some tips and tricks, and give you some ideas and things that you can possibly implement on your machines. And then I'll hand it over to Brian, and he'll show you a little bit about his application and what he's done, and show you some things that maybe you can use in your application and get some ideas anyway. So my name is Scott Courtier. I'm Senior Technical Sales Consultant for InduSoft, and as we get going here, just a little bit of logistics. We can't hear you, so if you have any questions during the webinar, please feel free to type those into the chat window or in the Q&A panel, and we'll get those answered for you probably towards the end of the webinar. But if you have anything that's relevant while we're presenting, please feel free to put that in, and if we can get to it, we will. Another piece of logistics, if you fill out the little survey that we send you, we'll send you an email telling you where you can get the slideshows as well as the recordings for these webinars. If you fill out that survey, give us your address and your shirt size, we'll send you a free t-shirt just for joining us today. So again, welcome, and hopefully some of this information will be good for you. And if you have any feedback, let us know that too. So again, just a quick agenda. I'm going to go over some quick machine builder tips and tricks for you. And if you've got any questions, feel free to shoot those our way. I'll talk a little bit about and do a demo regarding mobile access, so you can view and optionally interact with iPads and Androids and smartphones and things of that nature, including Chrome or Internet Explorer or Safari even. Talk a little bit about an architecture that you might implement short-term, long-term, and then talk about a concept that I often bring up about printing press for money, and we'll hand it over to Brian after that. So what are some things that I've seen for certain tips and tricks for machine builders? I would heavily suggest that you use symbols in InduSoft Web Studio. And if you're not familiar with symbols, we have first of all, we have our online training class, our full 5-day training class online for free. And as part of that, you can get the symbol video, as well as fairly recently, within the last few weeks or so, I've done a webinar covering symbols, and we've got other mentions of them in other webinars we've had done by our InduSoft group of people. So feel free to take a look at those. And what can they do for you? They can keep some commonality in your project, and give you ways to save some time. What I'm going to do now is another thing that we've recently implemented on our website, in our blog, as well as on our store. We have a symbol of the week. So if you would like to download those symbols and modify those and send those back up to us, we're happy to do that. If you have any that you would like to share, we'd happy to post those for you. So I'm just going to go here to the InduSoft store. You can see here there's some free add-ons. We've got all kinds of gauges and an hour meter. And here's some of the symbols that we've done as the symbol of the week. There's a small round gauge. There's these vertical LED meters, my personal favorite. We've got a data display, an entry with a pop-up keypad, some colored column gauges, and then we've got a couple of new ones in the queue ready to send out over the next couple of weeks. So just want to make sure that you were aware that those were available. So again, to use symbols not only from the custom property aspect of the symbols, but just from a graphical, common look and feel. Another concept for machine builders that I always like to present is create a secure configuration screen. Put some security on a configuration screen and allow you to put in there like set points or min and max settings or various set points. And by doing this, just to give you an example, I worked many years ago on an InduSoft application where we actually took over 50 different InduSoft applications and converted them down into a single application by putting minimum and maximum and set points on a single configuration screen. So allow the maintenance people or the setup people to do that, and allow one application so you only have to maintain one and back up one and archive one. it worked out really well for this particular customer. Another idea is to create a special setup screen just for installers. So another concept that I learned a long time ago is that a lot of you machine builders will build a machine, run it off in your facility, and then ship it to your customer. And if that happens, it's going to be installed by your people very typically, or contract people. And rather than jumping around between 5 or 10 different screens to see all the different settings, why not just make one screen that has all the different settings just jam-packed into it? It might not be something that a user will use or an operator will use, but for the installers, they don't have to keep jumping around to different screens, and it can be very nice to have everything all in one spot. They can just set up the machine, and then maybe with security, nobody ever gets into that screen again. So that's just another thing. Another idea is, this is something that I had a question on a couple of weeks ago, and I thought it might be neat to show using the hint field to show the tag value. Not the value, but the name of the tag. So the request was from a machine builder who said that their operators would occasionally find an issue with something on the screen and not be able to convey what object it was that had the problem or what tag name it was, because the operators don't see the tag names. So what we did is we came up with an idea of how to use the hint field, which is normally like a pop-up tool tip, to be able to show the tag. So I'm going to demonstrate that right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up InduSoft Web Studio here, and I'm going to create a brand new project. In this case, I'm going to call it Webinar Afternoon. And when I create this project, it's going to use my laptop's resolution. I will create a new screen here, and this is also going to help me show one of the next things, which is the remote access too. So dual purpose in showing you this. So the first thing I'm going to do is maybe create a tank, and one of the techniques that I might use to create a tank would be to use a rounded rectangle and then change the radius of the rounded part of the corners here, and then change the colors to have a fill effect and have a gradient fill from black to white, change this to a vertical orientation, and now I have kind of an outlined tank there. Maybe I'll put a cap on it to make it a little bit easier to see the top here, and I might line that up a little bit better in a production environment, but you get the idea. Then I'll take a closed polygon here, and I'll create a breakaway view, a cutaway view, and change this to become a bar graph. And so you could see a fill in here. And we'll take these properties, we'll give it a fill property, and change this background to black. And now we'll apply a bar graph animation to this, and we'll tie it to a tag name called Level 1. This tag doesn't exist, so I'm going to hit OK here, or hit Enter, and go ahead and create that as an integer. And that level will be from 0 to 100. Maybe we'll give it a fill color so that it's a little bit easier to see here, kind of a light blue. Now, because I don't have a PLC connected, I'm going to grab a symbol from the symbol library. And for those of you who watch the training videos, you know that I really like slider number 1 in our symbol library. And I will plot that on the screen and tie that to the tag level number 1. Now, by using this cutaway view here, let's go ahead and run this, and I should be able to that simply change the level on this slider and see the level inside of that cutaway view in that tank go up and down. So now to show the hint idea that I was talking about, normally on an object you can apply a hint, and so this tooltip, if you hover your mouse over it, will show up. So maybe this is the level, and then when I run this and I mouse over that, you can see it says this is the level. So now we're going to take this a step further here, and by putting in curly brackets and an if statement, we're going to be able to enhance this a little bit. So by putting in curly brackets, I could put an InduSoft function or a tag name in here, and here we're going to use the if statement, and the if will say if show hint, which is a tag name that I have not created yet. If that's true, then what we'll do is we'll show this hint text here. This is the level. And then I'll end that with a quote, and then put a comma in, and now comes the else part of the if statement. So if this is if show hint is not on, then what I'll do is I'll show the tag name equals level 1. And then I'll close the quotes. I'll close the if function parenthesis there, and then I'll close the curly bracket. And by doing that, now I'm either going to show the tag name, in this case it'll be level 1, or the hint, depending on if show hint tag is true or false. So since that doesn't exist, I'm going to go ahead and just make that a Boolean, since it's either going to be on or off. And now I need a way to configure that, or a way to change that. And this button that I'm going to put on the screen was probably going to be something that might be behind a maintenance configuration screen or some security, so it's not available to everybody. But what we'll do is we'll put show, and then another if statement inside of curly brackets here, so that if show hint is true, then it will say it's going to show the hint. Otherwise, comma, it will show the tag. And so that will show up as a label on this button and tell us what we're seeing, or what we should be seeing. I'll close the parenthesis for the if statement and then close the curly bracket. And then I'll apply a toggle command animation on this that will toggle the show hint. So here we'll say toggle, and then I'm going to go, because I don't want to type this again, I'll go in here and say show hint. And so this will say show hint or show tag. And before we get going any further, I'm going to go ahead and save this screen. And we'll just save this as a screen called tank. And now we need to go in here and set this as startup. And so now when we run this, right now it's showing the tag, or I can toggle this to show hint. And if I mouse over, it says this is the level. That's what it said before when I had the hint in there. If I toggle this to show the tag, now it shows the tag name is equal to level 1. And that might be a nice way so that your operations or maintenance staff can tell you, as the engineer, what tag name is causing me the problems, or which one do I think it is anyway. So that could help you. I thought that was a quick, neat tip or trick to possibly help you guys as machine builders. So we're going to take this another step further, and let me go make sure I'm covering everything here that I wanted to. We're going to do a mobile access demonstration. With this application, I've created this screen here, and that's all I'm going to do is I'm going to save this screen, stop my application, and publish this screen. So I'm going to publish this. It tells me that the TCP/IP server needs to be started, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and it's going to publish that screen as HTML. Now I'm going to go into the Syn client setup here under the Graphics tab, and under Mobile Access, this got pre-installed since I already had Microsoft IIS as a web server installed. It already installed some extensions in there for me to help me out. This is going to come up and present me with some things. In this case, I'm going to look for the tag name called level 1, and maybe we'll just call this tank level. And I'm going to allow this to be written to, and I'm going to use a circular gauge here. And so that will allow me to change that level in one of the ways that we have. Another thing that I can do is, now that I've published to that screen, I can then see that here as the screens, and maybe I'll give this a label as Tank Farm. And maybe I would have multiple of those on the screen. So at this point, I'm just going to save my mobile access configuration. And just to double check, make sure everything is good there. Let's see, we'll call this tank. And make sure we got everything in there. I'll go ahead and save this again. And now at this point, I can run my application. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up an instance of Google Chrome. And now this could be Safari on an iPad, or Google Chrome on an Android tablet, let's say, or even Internet Explorer on a PC. I just wanted to show you that it's not Internet Explorer, which is something that InduSoft Web Studio has been able to do for years and years. I'm going to go to my local loopback IP address and then /MA, and at this point it's going to prompt me for security to enter my username and password, which I didn't put any on this application, so I'll just be able to click on the OK and go right on through that. And so here's where I would normally put in my security credentials. I'm just going to go ahead and click on go in there without any of those. And here I can see my alarms, my trends, my process values. Here's the circular gauge that we created, and since I enabled the write capabilities to it, I can click on this. You can see that the value is 46, which is the same as this slider over here showing the value. I can grab the needle, or I can click on the actual numbers here. In this case, I'm going to grab the needle here and slide this over to about 75 or so. And then if you watch the slider over here, when I commit this write, that slider will go up to 75, which is that value that I set. And that's a really nice way to do a tag change. But alternatively, what I could do is go into that screen with no additional creation other than just clicking on the publish. I can go in here, go into that tank farm, and now I can see and optionally interact with that exact same screen that I created. So here I can grab this slider and change the value, and you can see that the real runtime is changing. And this doesn't have to be, in this case it's Chrome on my local PC, but it could be on a remote connection. As long as you've got a TCP/IP connection back to the main runtime here, you can use these to be much more efficient in your machines and the way that you run there. So just a couple more quick things that I wanted to talk about. From an overall monitoring standpoint, what you might find is a good way to deploy InduSoft Web Studio is you might have this set up in a phased approach, where maybe you do one machine and talk to one PLC, and then eventually you add another machine and another machine, so on and so forth. And then finally you realize, hey, I'd like to collect data out of all of those. So you add a network and you add some kind of supervisory station running InduSoft Web Studio. And now maybe through the TCP/IP worksheets you can collect information from any or all three of those and send it up to a server database. And you can do that in a very easy fashion without knowing any SQL programming whatsoever. The trend worksheets and the grid object and the alarming, all can be done to a database without knowing any SQL whatsoever. So watch our videos on that if you're interested in doing that. And just a general concept about using an HMI on a machine. Very typically, your machines or your process are going to produce a product, hopefully for a profit. And if you think of that machine as a printing press for money, every little piece that comes out of that machine is a profit. And if you think of that machine as a printing press for money and it stops, it's not printing money. And so you'd like to do everything that you can to take advantage of features in InduSoft Web Studio that will help you get that machine running quickly again. And Brian's going to cover some of the features that he built into his application to show you how he keeps their machines running and get going quickly if there's a down situation. So, Brian, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you off of mute. You should be there. Are you there, Brian?
Yes, I am here.
All right. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand presentation status over to you. And you should have that here momentarily. And all right, you should have that. You should be able to share your desktop. And then, okay, I can see your desktop.
All right.
And there's your presentation. So go ahead and take it away, Brian. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Scott. Like Scott said, my name is Brian Ogletree. I work for a company out of Mount Airy, North Carolina. Not a very big company. It's fewer than 100 employees, and everybody says you're a programmer, controller for a chemical company, and I say yeah, we do more than just chemicals. We manufacture we manufacture chemicals as well as equipment controls, and I'll get into how we sort of got into that briefly in a minute. I want to jump up here and give a little background of the company. The company's been in business since 1974. Like I said, we manufacture a variety of products, chemical products, as well as controls for different machines. The company holds about 10 different patents on processes and chemicals. We're also the Southeast distributor for the DEF, diesel exhaust fluid. That's something that all diesel trucks have to run since 2010. We also we service manufacturing plants around the world in the textile industry. Our number one industry that we handle is hosiery or socks. The company I work for holds a patented process in bleaching or turning socks white using hydrogen peroxide. And the thing about it is the chemicals mixed together are very volatile and hazardous, so they have to be done in a special process to do the, in order to bleach the socks. Anyway, and like I said, InduSoft has really helped us a lot in monitoring and controlling doing this. And like I said, so basically we started out with chemicals and doing chemical injection systems for our chemicals. And then we ended up migrating and actually doing the machine controls that actually run the machine. Well, in doing that, I was able to integrate the chemical injection system into the machine control. Rather than having two controls, have one control doing both processes. And, of course, InduSoft was great because I was using it for one area. With the chemical injection system, I was able to expand it into the machine control. And then I'm also am using it for management packages. And so, like I said, the beauty of InduSoft is the ability to handle small projects as well as large projects. And I'm not being an end user. I need a way that I can build something and grow and expand it to do what I need it to do. I can't afford being a sole programmer. I can't afford the time to go to each job and custom build a project. So what I'll do is I'll take a project I've been running on the chemical injection system and integrated it to run the machine, because keep in mind I integrated the injection system with my machine control. Well, then I took that InduSoft package project and advanced it into a management package, and I'll show you some of those how I did this, where I could take the project to different jobs. And my main goal here is I'm a big believer in InduSoft. Before I got involved in with InduSoft, I've done Allen Bradley, the RSView, I've done Kipware, I've done Six Supervisor. I played with them all, and even wrote some of my own. And that's a lot of work if anybody's ever done that. But the big thing is InduSoft, and I'm not trying to sell InduSoft. I just I do like InduSoft. I'm just a big believer in it because I know what it's done for me. The company I work for, like I said, is a small company, so I'm the individual programmer, the software developer, whatever you want to call me. You can call me that, because I build the cabinets. I do have a man that is an electrician. I'll normally build the prototypes or the first one, and once I get everything built, then I'll send everything up to him, and he can build. If it's more than one machine, then he'll build whatever's after the first one, and everything's kept on file, so he can go back and build another injection system and then send it down to a customer, and I'll go install it and so forth. But make a long story short, InduSoft is able to go with me, and like I said, being one person that's programming the PLC or a different HMI, Omron touchscreen or a Maples, I don't have a lot of time to spread out among with everything. So like I said, you want something that's easy to use, and you want, and like I said, I was telling one of the guys earlier that I'm kind of a thief. Most of my ideas are ideas I got from other engineers, and I'll take something they mentioned or said, or even in the plant, on the plant floor, an operator say something, and it'd be an awesome idea, and I'll build it and include it into the InduSoft project right there on site. I've done it many times on the plant floor. The operator will say, it'd be nice if I could see this or do this. Man, I'll disappear for 5 minutes, and boom, I've dropped it on his screen before he knew what happened. Because InduSoft is that flexible. All right, real quick, I've been with the company 15 years. Like I said, I do, unfortunately, a little bit of everything. I've been known to clean toilets when asked to, but I handle all designs, the R&D. When the boss wants something, he'll call me in, and we'll go over it, and then he'll, 9 times out of 10, give me a budget and wants it done for nothing. But anyway, I handle the designs, the manufacturing, and the machine controls, the programming, and assembly, wiring, and like I said, all the way down to the HMIs. When I'm done, it's also my responsibility to put together the manuals and wiring diagram. You can't deliver a machine to a customer and not give, some support for them. If not, you're going to get more phone calls than you wanted to begin with. But and I'm also the one that the customer calls at 2 o'clock in the morning when nothing goes right. and like I said, that's where InduSoft makes my job easier. It saved companies a whole lot of money. Like I said, we're worldwide. We got plants all the way from in Mexico, El Salvador, Honduras, Africa, Pakistan, and we. And me being the sole programmer, when a line goes down, especially in a manufacturing plant that runs 24/7, when it goes down, like Scott said, they're losing money. And I had one plant manager come to me, and I was in there like 3 o'clock in the morning. He came to me and he said that machine being down was costing him in the neighborhood of $20,000 an hour. And you're talking about pressure being applied on you. So anyway, luckily that was in the States. But if that would have been in Mexico, $20,000 an hour in production loss is a lot of money. So you need a way to be able to log into the machine, see what's going on, see what the operator's doing, then you need to see what the machine's doing. And if you do your job right from the get-go, if you do a good troubleshooting and error messaging on your systems, then it will save you a lot of phone calls. All right. Basically, my goal here is to give you guys ideas. I don't want to show off. I was telling the guys earlier, I'm nervous at doing this because I'm the backstage person. I'm the one that I stay in the dark. When they need something, they call me. I'll do it. I don't. I'm not the one that shows up in the big meetings with the customer and wear a suit and tie. I don't wear a suit and tie to church. I wear blue jeans to church. So, but anyway, here what we got. Like I said, due to the different arrangements that we do. Like I said, the chemical injection system and the machine control of the main or the equipment itself. And then the mattress package. There's a lot of different challenges. Everybody wants something different. Each one of those, from the chemical injection system all the way to the mattress package, there are different challenges for each thing, and everybody's got their own way. The way they want it seen or the way they want it done. And to have something in your hands, it makes it easy to do that. Like I said, when you got somebody looking over your shoulder wanting something or doesn't like the way you've done something, and you're trying to figure out how to change it for them, there's a lot of pressure there, and I've been there, and so it's nice to have a package in your hand that it's not hard to work with. It's something that and if you need help, which I make more phone calls to support than anybody you'll meet. If you need help, there's InduSoft has some awesome service, customer service people. Also, the manual. You will not. I printed the manual out. Actually, I took it and had it printed out. I'm more of a paper type guy. I like to have a manual in my hand, and I don't read. I'm not a big reader. So don't think I sat down and read that 3-inch manual of InduSoft. When I have in my mind a task, all right, I'll think about the task, then I'll jump into the manual and research that task. And InduSoft's manual is probably laid out in such a way in the index you can almost find any example of the task you want to accomplish. And I want to show you two projects that I've done, one being a mattress package and the other being a machine control. And in that, you'll everything you see that I've done, I pulled out of that 3-inch manual. And just by seeing it done or having seen somebody mention it, I've grabbed the manual, researched what it was, and figured out how to do it from the examples. Like I said, you don't have to be a rocket scientist, and you can tell by the way I talk, I'm by far a very intelligent person. The one thing, like I said, I've worked with a lot of different packages, and one thing that probably drew me to InduSoft first, and I know it sounds corny, but was the graphics. When you're building a project, and you don't have a very good graphics program or app, that's the difference of making a cartoon for a 2-year-old and a control for a operator to understand, or for a the plant manager to come look at. You want something presentable, and you want it clean, and you want something that can make or display what you want. Some of the other packages that I started out with and got, you draw a tank like Scott did earlier. You get down to a certain size, and all of a sudden you got a little blurry figure there that is basically nothing but a dot. And so trust me, working with other people's packages, you learn the ones that you want to stick with and the ones you want to stay away from. And the graphics with InduSoft is out of this world. It's awesome. Some of the other things that really was very important and was a must was the monitoring, the internet monitoring, the long distance monitoring. Like I said, that right there alone has saved customers lots of money from buying me a plane ticket and having to fly down there. And you'll be surprised. You get online and all of a sudden you see that it's just a bad temperature probe or a bad float or some kind of bad sensor. And then of course the big thing is the databasing and records keeping. I made the comment before that I think InduSoft started and with that and worked their way backwards because they're so powerful in their records and databasing that it's almost like I think they started there building their SCADA package and then added to it from there because they're so easy to do databasing and records and reports that, and like I said, it's all in the book. It's right there in front of you, and it's easy to do. You can learn to do something in 5 minutes. All right, I want to run your ear, burst your ear here. All right, right here is a basic chemical system, injection system. It's like I said, maple screen with a small arm-run shoebox control, and that's one of like I said, right here I can connect, use InduSoft with, if you look, there's no Ethernet on this one. This is RS-232. Right here would be something InduSoft can connect to real easy using their drivers for the RS-232. All right, this right here is a little bit bigger dosing system, injection system. With this one, that control box right there, most of you will know that, that box, just that one little box right there is about $15,000 to $20,000 in controls, and it doesn't take a lot to add up and controls. And then this particular one has a small 8-inch touch screen in the front for the operator and to monitor that. And even this one right here, the manager's package, is connected to this, monitoring and tracking all the data. I could have used if I wanted to, I could have used the InduSoft to function right there in front of the operator and used it for the HMI as well as the manager's package. But in this particular application, we don't want to go that route. We wanted to have a little bit inexpensive touch screen out there for the operator just to monitor what was going on the floor. Here, this is one of the machine controls. On the top left, the two pictures on top, that's the motor control box with the Skyward drive. I'm a big Skyward fan. Then on the right-hand side, the top right, is the control cabinet, and then the two bottoms control cabinets with a touch screen in the middle. One thing here I wanted to show you how important this was, that the bottom right-hand picture, that cabinet was sent down to Honduras, and at the time in Honduras there's no internet. The plant didn't have internet. There's no internet on the road or close by for the plant, and there again we needed monitoring. If you look right here, if you see the little cheap little router on top, if you look right here in the middle of that black box, that is a BGAN satellite system. I researched and found a satellite system and mounted it in the control cabinet out on the floor. And on this particular job, the HMI is running the InduSoft. It's a industrial PC with InduSoft on it that is doing everything from running the machine to the data gathering. We didn't do the cost and other things with the customer. They didn't want a PC out on the floor. So what I did is I used an industrial PC for the HMI and installed the InduSoft, and I killed two birds with one stone. And I want to show you that particular project here. Right, I want to go ahead and bring it up here. Let's see. All right, let me go ahead and run it. And I'm running still 6.1, and the reason I'm running 6.1, I have 14 machines out there running InduSoft, and being the developer, if I make a change, if I change my developer or whatever, then when I go into a plant to make say when I add on a chemical or whatever, I have to update their runtime license. So anyway, that's a different story. I'll let Scott get into that later on. But anyway, as you can see, I'm a big fan on graphics, and I had some time on my hands down in Honduras one day, and so therefore I started playing. I had some room on the screen, and you saw my little tanker drive by. So anyway, some of the ideas I wanted to give you, and everything I've got here is out of the book, simple to do, and I wanted to give you ideas of what you can do. You could, like I said, you can make this thing as wimpy as you want. I don't know what kind of projects you're looking at, or you can make this thing as robust as you want. You can give, and the thing is, you can do it and not be cluttered. I've seen projects where the programmer, he had all these great ideas, and he put it all on one screen, and it was awful because you couldn't make sense of anything because there's too much there. The beauty with InduSoft, you can do a lot with it and hide a lot with it. One thing, and I'll show you the machine. This particular machine. Let's see. All right, tunnel monitor. This particular machine is basically a tunnel washer. The equipment's made in Germany. My boss used it in his patented bleaching process. This machine you can find in a lot of hotel laundries, hospitality laundries, on cruise ships. This machine's 53 foot long. Each one of these are batch pockets. It's a batch washer, is what they call CBW. This is the load conveyor. And so basically what you got, each load's 110 pounds, and that's a lot of information right there. Just looking at that screen, that's a lot of information, because every one of these little zeros you see is some kind of data, whether it be, and this is the loading pocket, the first pocket on the screen. And what would happen, like I said, this is the machine control. So this particular package runs the machine as well as collects all the data. So you're running the machine, turning it on and off. You're turning the chemicals on and off here, and as well as loading. All right, let me cancel that. I didn't want to work. And then once the machine's up and running, now we got the data collections. All right, this particular machine, all of our systems use a barcode scanner. I use a Symbol Wireless that here again is connected directly to that industrial PC, reporting directly to the InduSoft. So everything that's scanned in, and on average, it's between a 16 and 20 digit barcode. Everything that's scanned in is record, is data, and it's going somewhere, and it's being used for other purposes. Here we can also scan a run ticket. A lot of the lot, every lot that comes into the operator will have a lot ticket with it, or a batch ticket. They will scan the barcode, and that barcode would give them information like the style number, color, size, and so forth of the load. And then the conveyor here is on scales, so it's weighed out, and there again, that weight is entered into the data with everything else. So when that barcode goes into our database, when that conveyor advances forward, that barcode, run ticket, the weight of that load is all put into the database and time-stamped. Every single load's done that way. Like I said, there again, doing this is so easy with InduSoft database and things. It's almost a given. If you don't use the databasing and the data recording, you're really wasting the power of InduSoft in my book, because it's so much more. I want to show you two projects. And like I said, I'm in my office, so I didn't have a PLC to connect to demonstrate a lot of this. But just to give you some of the data, some of the tables in the database that I have running on this, to give you some ideas, and then the reports that can be ran, from efficiency reports, the formulation reports. Like I said, you can view everything that was ran. A lot of times the operators will actually, at the end of each shift, will print out what was ran on his shift, and that he's actually using that, whether it be for his pay or whatever. But he's printing out his own information for to turn in. And now it's also put into a main database, and this is something that I do, and it's kind of a rule of thumb. I'm not an IT guy. I'm not a database type person. So I needed something I was familiar with. So I use Access, and this is what I do. This is what I tell all my customers. I'm going to set up my equipment. I'm going to put in Microsoft Access, and I'm going to send everything to that database. And I will put anything you want in that database. You tell me what you want, I'll put it into a table, and I will send it out to wherever you want to send it, or you can come grab it. And what that does, there's got to be a cutoff point for a programmer when he goes in. There's got to be because you can get underwater real fast. If I was sending this stuff into their main server there at the plant, using their SQL server, and all of a sudden I'm going from sending stuff to a database to writing macros in their SQL server to write reports for them. So basically you got to find a cutoff. So what I do is I do a rule of thumb. I say, listen, this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I'll give you. If you could either use that. If you want something different, if you want a different database, I'll work with you. I'll send it to wherever you want to, but that's as far as it's going to go. Because that's, like I said, there again, this is something that InduSoft in my book specializes in, is this records keeping and transmitting this records keeping. So on top of the monitoring, you also have the records keeping. And keep in mind, when NAFTA came on hit in the U.S., all these companies went offshore. So all of a sudden, you got all these home offices here in the U.S. that's sending millions and billions of dollars worth of their production to plants in different places of the world. And so when we started happening with us, and we were being involved with it. It was actually this area in the textiles was actually referred to as the black hole, with a lot of home offices, because they could not keep track of what was there. They were relying on handwritten reports that the operators were writing down. They put a strike mark for every load that they put in and what the pounds were, and it was handwritten. And a lot of these reports were not right. the operators were goofing off and taking an extra 15 minutes on their break and lunch, and they were not producing what they were saying they were producing. Well, you put in something like this, and you ain't got to worry about, handwritten reports. You can make up your own reports and send it to the U.S. or wherever. You can have it automatically emailed. One of the things that our company does, our company owns several production lines for some of the textile mills, and how it works is we get paid per load or per pound that goes through that machine, and we actually bill off of the records from InduSoft that are automatically sent up to our server in North Carolina. So the company depends on our company as well depends on InduSoft for making our money. So anyway, I'm sorry to get talking too much. But some of the things that are really cool that you can do with InduSoft, like I said, I hope to turn on some light bulbs and give you guys some ideas. For anybody that's built machine controls, if you don't have a good error or fault system, then it's going to make your life miserable, because I don't care how great your equipment is, things are going to wear out, things are going to go wrong. You want the ability to show the error and to send it out to the necessary people. Myself, I use three areas of errors. I use an events type messaging, not necessarily errors, but holds that would be like temperature holds that were just waiting for temperature or water levels to be met. Those are not any kind of acknowledgement errors or faults. Then I have what I call a non-critical error. Something like this would be a chemical pump or did not, start up, or water level didn't meet at in a certain time. And then you have what I would call your critical errors, which would be motor overloads, e-stops hit, and things like that. And what I've got, I'm not connected to a PLC. I want to show you this right here. An engineer could come here and he can basically monitor all the basic I/O on the equipment. He can even override the system, shut the system down, and fire up I/O manually and from the screen. The error system on the main screen, if you had a fatal error pop up, of course the equipment's going to shut down, and on the screen you'll have a banner, a error banner come across or pop up telling you what errors occurred. And here, because I'm not connected to a PLC, of course, I don't have air pressure, and I don't have anything coming from an e-stop. So what you got here, if you look, these little red dots are the e-stops located on this equipment. And when this error occurs, these little red dots are on. If the error wasn't there, these little red dots wouldn't be there. If it was a motor overload, if this pump right here, if it was a overload on this pump, this pump would turn red, and the overload inside this the motor cabinet here would turn red. So if it was an e-stop, and also this banner is up. If it was a motor overload, you would have a motor overload banner come up right here that you could click on. Here you click on the e-stop banner error, and and a lot of people criticize my pretty little pictures and my graphics and stuff, but the thing is, and something else too I'll touch base on, InduSoft is awesome at translations. You can translate your project so easily in InduSoft. It's unbelievable. I was doing that. And of course, you need somebody that speaks the language regularly before you jump into that. And I'll tell you why. You use a standard translator, and you put e-stop tripped, and you try to translate that. There's no telling what you're actually saying or typing on that screen if you're not fluent in that language. So that's one reason when I do it, I actually contact people to translate in the language. But anyway, pictures. when you're in a country where the operator does not know how to read, and probably likes it, a lot of times don't even have a TV or a phone in the house, pictures are worth 1,000 words, and that's why my graphics have a lot of color to them. I try to make it user-friendly. I don't want to intimidate anybody, so I try to put a lot of graphics there where you don't need a lot of explanation. And when it comes to troubleshooting, there again, pictures are worth a lot. Here, if it was e-stop, you click on the banner and it pops up the e-stops and tells you to to check your e-stops. And then you come here and did that resolve the problem? Yes or no? You click on no. It takes you to the next step. Let's go. Go look at the contacts on the e-stop. In a lot of these countries and in a bleach room, the humidity is unbelievable, and the temperatures are really tough, and the corrosion on wire conductors and contacts is really tough. And for some reason, I don't know why, but it attacks the e-stop contacts. And so here, check your contacts. Did that work? And you'll be surprised how many phone calls I've got with, I've got an e-stop trip. All these stops are pulled, and I don't know what's going on. I tell them, pull the wires out, trim the wire back, or clean the wire. It'll just be a corroded wire. It's the problem. Did this correct the problem? No. And it tells you, all right, let's go check the next step. Let's go to the K1, K2 relay. And, did this help? No. So next step would be, let's look at the input to the PLC. E-stops, as most of you know, it's got to be a hardwire situation where it kills power to your motors. Hardwire, that's where the K2 and K1 and K2 come from. And also, it could be as simple as a burnt contact. If if the input is on to the PLC or whatever, or I'm not speaking just E-stop, but if you got a bad input to a PLC, that will give you a lot of headaches. And of course, if that didn't help you, then there's always call somebody. So that is your escape. And of course, I'm always seems to be the one on the other end of that line there. And also too, here is if you look here, the mechanic, he doesn't have to go far to grab the wiring diagram. You got here he's got the wiring diagram for the machine. He doesn't have to go grab a manual, a book somewhere to to pick up the wiring diagram. And that is a big help, because I don't know if a lot of the way I've seen a lot of people keep their manuals is not very flattering. And also I have the manual linked in the I got the manual linked. I showed it earlier to somebody else earlier on the control operations of the tunnel or the machine. Now, something interesting here is sort of neat. My electrician, he actually did this manual for me. He's not a programmer. He doesn't want to be a programmer. I was short on time, and I asked him if he would do it. So what I did is I sent him the project and told him to go to InduSoft and download their demo and run my project off of it. And that's what he did. And that's how he did screenshots of my project off of the run of the demo to come up with the manual. And he's never ran the machine before. And so he's never, this trick one is in El Salvador. He's never seen this machine before in his life. So he actually, like I said, did the manual for me on this particular job. And it just shows you how, helpful the links are. Let's see. Yes, here. All right. Let's escape this. All right, I'm running short on time, so I want to go to one of the other projects here. And this right here is the manager's package. And I talked to you earlier about having one package made a large criteria. Well, this right here, this manager's package right here is on a job site that's run 3 production lines. Between the 3 production lines, there's 18 different machines. There's 3 large tunnel washers, 2 large press extractors, and then 13 dryers. There's more than that, so it's 19, right? 19. And then, of course, there's shuttles delivering from the extractors to the dryers. So what we go to first on this, and what I did here on this particular project, if one of the there's a manager's PC per production line. So, and keep in mind, each production line was installed. They were installed about a year apart. So, production line number 1 was installed and up and running. Then we came in, did production line number 2, and so forth. So, and I needed a way that I could integrate the manager's package per production line. And also, if one of the computers crashed and they had to replace the PC, I needed a way so that they could just install a CD and be back up and running. And so what I did is I'm using the same package per production line, and you can go into the system configuration and go to systems. Well, this is not going to come up for me here. All right, I have to close out. For some reason the screen didn't. Go to chemical system configuration, system. All right, my system's not coming up now. All right. For some reason, he's locked up on me here. It's not giving me all my screens. Oh, I see. I see why. If you look here, I did a safety on this particular one. When I'm I go to these plants regularly to check up on them, to see if they want to add anything. So what I've done on the safety, I timed out the security login. So in other words, I'm bad about going in, logging into a machine, and doing something right quick and taking off and not logging out. So what I did is, when I log out, the operator normally goes, defaults back to a guest. So what happened here was it logged me out. That's why it wasn't giving me access to those buttons. And that's another great thing with InduSoft, the ability to protect or lock out certain areas of buttons or access to different levels or groups of people. It's so easy to do that you need to utilize it, because if you're not, you could be spending more time doing it the long way or the hard way. All right, let's see if I remember the password here. Let's see if that's it. Nope. Sorry about this. Oh, come on now. There it goes. All right. I was typing it in too fast. So what I was saying, you could go into the system configuration, and I can configure this for any one of the lines I want. Right now, it's configured for line 3. Let's go. If I want to go in there and I'm redoing the PC for line 1, I can upload the defaults. Now, these, of course, are not the defaults. I went in and took them out because I had the customer's information in there. But basically, I went in. You can go in and set it up, the configuration. Or, if I wanted to take this and use it in mom and pop shop, down the street, I can go into the same project and configure this, however I want to. I just added that particular information for this customer for easy backing up. And when doing this, here, let me show you the chemical system. Let's go to 1. It also changes my graphics. This is production line 1. It was the first line put in. So we're going to go check out the chemical system. Now, if you look, this has got a mixture of these measuring. They're called dosing cans. There's a sonic sensor on top. Basically, it fills to the level and shuts down. And this, believe it or not, the accuracy of this is awesome. We're held to a plus or minus 5% on our chemical usage, which is a large gap. It's pretty good. It makes my job a little bit easier. There are customers that want a plus or minus 2%. That's also not a problem. And these are our injectors here. The requirements. The reason we use the cans, a lot of our chemicals are either thick, some sticky, whatever the reason. The owner, the boss, does not want. He doesn't allow any movable parts to come in contact with the chemicals. Anything that does come in contact with chemical has to be stainless steel. So any kind of measuring device, whatever, cannot have any movable parts. So paddle wheels are out of the question. And so these meters here you see are they're CoreLogic meters, if I pronounce that right, and all the valves are stainless steel. But anyway, what I'm showing you, if you see this configuration here, and then we go back and we configure it for a different production line. Let's go production line 3. And we're going to change the data here. Now we go to the chemical system. Now you're looking at the system with all injectors. It doesn't have any cans at all. What I've done here, for operators' sake, operators like to see the what's the set point is and what's actually being delivered. So that's what you're seeing there. What I can do is a more conventional screen, basically give you all the chemicals here and show you the set point and what was delivered. Here you're actually seeing the signal coming from the meter, the flow meter, for each one. And I like to put that up there because I like when it's running. There again, the graphics with InduSoft are awesome. You know, the pipes show a fluid coming through and coming down. The pump shows movement. You know, the graphics, animation graphics are just unreal. You could do a lot, and I know it looks kind of childish in a sense, but when you're in, like I said, when you're dealing with operators, graphics are a must. The operator doesn't care what the name of that chemical is, what it's called. He knows where it's located at, and he wants to make sure it's going, and that is being called for. So he just wants to look, see, and see something happening. And so that's what it's important to deliver a lot of times to the operators. Back to the data records. Something too I wanted to point out that Scott was talking about monitoring. And the system configurations here. If you look down here, you're going to see, Scott had brought up the hint field and using the curly brackets. And I want to show you something here. If you look, I got equipment ID here and all the information for my my table, for my driver table to connect to the Omron PLC. It's all being punched in right here. The information for the database, it's all being punched in right here. That's where the little curly brackets are your best friend, because what you can do, and I will close this and let me bring this up here. What I've done is, if you go into the project and look at it, okay, let's see. Let's go to the data bus. It's not going to allow me to get there right now. Let's see if it is. All right. Communications. Well, I tell you, let me just go to the easiest site to get it from. From the AMAS, this is a TCIP. This is Omron's driver table. If you go here, and why am I? All right, I'm trying to figure out. I'm looking. Oh, this is showing the. This is showing the different project. This is showing the. Why is this showing the project? Okay, all right. Let me bring it. I'm on the wrong. I'm sorry. I had two Omron packages going. Two InduSoft packages going at one time. This is what I want to show you, right here. Sorry for the confusion there. What I want to show you on the tables here. This is like I said, both of them are running Omron, and all right, why is it not? It's got me logged out here. All right, all right, it's probably not letting me to it because I'm actually running. Let me stop the project so it'll let me bring up there. I'm sorry, I've made the wrong thing. The curly brackets. I went in here on the station info, and in the station info, there's my tag name, station info. So if you go back to the page, the configuration page, in the project, let's see if I can find it. I got a million different screens here, so it'll probably be harder to find it. But basically, if you go to that screen, you will see station info. It's my tag name. So when you enter that information, that IP address, it goes to this into this field. So in the same way with the let me go here to the main configuration, and and at first I wasn't sure that it was going to work. I didn't call anybody, and like I said, I wasn't sure if this was going to was even going to work. But basically, if you look the net IP, all right, that right there in the curly brackets, that's another field that I put in on the configuration of the setup, the project configuration screen on the let's see, I don't know why that showed you the IP address. Let's go to database. Okay, so that's not what I want to show you. Well, it's right here. I'm sorry. It's been a while since I've been on this project, so I have to click around and find it sometimes. But if you like here, station info 2, there is the tag for that information for the path to this database. So this is something you can do for a project if you're not sure of the information out there on the floor that you're going to be inputting. InduSoft makes it real easy to and like I said, this stuff is in the manual too. It's not something I'm not showing you anything that is something that I had to call and find out or find out how to do. This is in the book, and I'm hoping I'm maybe generate some ideas on things to try. And some of the other things. Let me run the project. Let's see. I'm big on it. Like I said, I think animation's cool, and I play around with animation when I got too much time on my hands, is what the guys at the office tell me. And let me close the screen. All right. Open up my main page here. All right. Back to the main screen. Let me get back to it. The animation on each project, like on the other one, you saw the little truck running across the screen and things. It's so easy to do, and it's all explained. And you could tie that to anything from, I said I'm just big on animation because to me, pictures explain a lot. You can explain a lot with using pictures, and and databasing the information. Everybody that it's like Scott said earlier, every machine out on the floor is producing money or should be producing money for somebody, and when that machine's not running, you're losing money. And if that machine is not being tracked, if the product is not being monitored, going through that machine, that machine could be losing you money, and you think you're producing a great product and you're getting rich off of it, but that because you're not tracking your materials tracking your materials, that machine that you think is doing such a great job, you could be losing money in. And on the hosiery, let me tell you, a sock that my dryer eats half of my socks, but in the socks, the money is tracked down to the quarter of a cent. Everything that goes into that sock is kept track of, and where it goes is kept track of. I told you about the ticket printing and the scanning. This particular line has. Let me show you the load tracking screen. This is a line 3. If you look, I got that's all 3 integrated, conveyors, offload conveyors coming from the press to a shuttle. There's actually 2 shuttles under there because there's no PLC it's connected to. So you can only see one, but there's 2 shuttles that run and load the dryers. All right, so you have 3 production lines, lines 1, 2, and 3, and coming out of 13 different dryers. So line 1, that last product could come out of dryer number 13 at the opposite end. And all that information is being stored into a database. And it's also generating a ticket that's automatically printed behind that dryer. So when that load comes out of the dryer, a ticket is printed out. So that ticket is now, I've incorporated information that came in from the batch ticket. So when the operator scanned his first ticket, I took that information, incorporated the timestamp, the weight, and whatever else the customer wanted. I incorporated into a new barcode and a new ticket coming out at the back end of the dryer. And that ticket is taken to the next step in the process, whether it be finishing or packaging or whatever. That ticket is taken, is dropped with the load, and is taken on to the next part of the process. And there again, with the little curly brackets, it's really cool to you can do animation things like here. Right here is your 13 dryers, your 3 production lines, your 2 shuttles I spoke of, your 3 dryers that the loads are coming out of. They have 3. Like I said, we did this on 3. We installed in 3 different lines: production line 1, production line 2. So we had 3 different printers that let's go ahead and use it instead of using one printer. But I said, okay, what if one printer goes down? What do we do? Well, let's see. Set by default, this is the layout. Here's your 3 ticket printers, and these are your 3 how they're lined up. These 5 dryers will print out to this printer 1. These 4 printer 2. These 4 to printer 3. If one of the printers or all the printers go out, and let's say we only have printer 2 available, and we want all 13 dryers to print to printer 2. Bam. There you go. You're printing to all 13 dryers are going to print a ticket to printer 2. Just something, and all that's done with the little curly brackets. And keep in mind that information that I did in InduSoft right here, I sent to a PLC that controls the ticket printers. So like I said, it's just and like I said, it's easy to do, and there's people that if you have questions on how to do it, InduSoft has some awesome technical team. They've walked me through bukus of situations that I got myself in. I'm bad about saying, oh yeah, I can do that. I get halfway in the middle of it and say, oh crap, how do I do this? So therefore, I'm calling Fabio, one of the guys at InduSoft, and harassing them, and they don't want to hear from me ever again because of it. But also something neat, the InduSoft Dismantlers package running on this PC, I can do everything from it. I can do the printer setup. I can do whatever needs to be done through InduSoft. I don't have to exit InduSoft to configure anything. Everything that I need to do is configured directly through InduSoft. Something as well that's done too. A lot of times, if a operator misses scanning a ticket, and what I've done is I've actually I put an override in there. If the scanner goes out or something, I put an override in. And there's been operators that for whatever reason didn't scan a ticket. I make them easy way to get into the system to enter information, or if they want to print an additional ticket. Let's say they let the ticket printer, it malfunctioned and it messed up the ticket. Well, they want to print another ticket. Well, here they go. And here in this ticket right here, there would be a barcode right here. Like I said, it's going to the next step in the process. I use a generic barcode app, and I embed it into the InduSoft project. It's a DLL library. So basically, it pulls up. If I had information here, let's see if it'll do it. I don't know if I configured it or not. No, it's not going to do it. Basically, I didn't turn it on. I should have turned it on to demonstrate it. But basically, I have a generic barcode DLL interfaced embedded into the InduSoft that generates all the barcodes. And it does every barcode you can possibly think of. And all that's selected in the ticket configuration here. If you look here, you select whatever you want on the ticket and the barcode information. Like I said, InduSoft and ActiveX controls, they make it great to use ActiveX controls. All right, like I said, I think that's about it. I see I'm running long on time, so I guess I need to go ahead and cut it short here, but I'm sorry I talked your ear off. I hope something I showed you or said helps. Like I said, I hope I didn't rattle on too much. I wanted to put my information up there. If there's anything I can do to help you with, I'll be more than happy to, if I'm available, to answer any questions for you. So like I said, Scott, I think that's it. I hope I didn't rattle too much.
No. Brian, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, hear you fine.
Okay, great. Good job, really good job. Couple of things. I really like the way that you implemented the pictures, for the different contacts, the emergency stop, things of that nature. I also like the way that you did the I/O tables, where you can see the different the labels for the different I/O addresses, and then a little red or green light next to it. That's I think very important. Makes it a little bit easier. I'm looking for any questions that we have. Feel free to put those into the Q&A panel or the chat window. Brian, one of the questions that we have regarding the barcode scanner that you're using, is that does that come in as a keyboard on the keyboard port, or does it come in as a driver?
Oh, that's a good question, because you can do either one. If you want to use a keyboard wedge, you can. I use the RS-232. All my scanners are wireless, and of course they got a little database, and that plug into the base, as RS-232 into the port of a PC. And so, like I said, the InduSoft can do it either way. And I've done both ways. Something I'm working on now too, is I'm transmitting a barcode over the TCP to the InduSoft. So if you actually got a barcode scanner that you want to use over the internet or over the network, you can do that with InduSoft as well. Great.
Tap it into all that flexibility. Another question, kind of a leftover from this morning, which was, what is the name again of the satellite connection that you were using?
It's a BGAN, and I checked it out. It is spelled BGAN, and just because it's been a while since I've used it, and like I said, the basis and it's relatively expensive, but it's awesome stuff. If you want a surefire internet connection somewhere remotely, the BGAN's the way to go. It's awesome.
Well, great. So at this point, I'm going to do one more quick look at see if there's any questions coming in, but as of this point, I don't see any coming in. And let's see, we'll do one more quick look here through the Q&A. Oh, here's one. Let's see. Schematics for the crew. Is there any technique to have those pages updated? Do you use any techniques to keep the schematics or the wiring diagrams updated from like a database or from like AutoCAD? Do you regenerate the entire PDF, or is that something that you can do on the fly as changes are made?
Oh, I can do it on the fly, but I do. My end picture is in a PDF because there's other people use them. But yes, I do keep all my everything updated, especially if the customers are notorious for wanting changes, adding things. So yes, I need that flexibility to make those changes, but then I always end up putting them in a PDF.
Okay, so you make live document changes in whatever format that's in, and then you just turn it into a PDF and then put it in the same location, the same file
same location, right? Yeah, exactly.
Okay, great, really good question. All right, well, we're a few minutes over, but I think everybody was well engaged, and Brian, I'd like to thank you again for presenting with us. I learned so much more in the afternoon than I did this morning. I really appreciate it. We really appreciate it, and thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Brian, thanks again.
Thank you.
And with that concludes our webinar, and don't forget to fill out the survey and come back and visit us again in future webinars. Thanks, and have a great day.